Hello, good morning children. How are you? Hope all of you are doing fine. In the last video, we started the Civics chapter 1 on equality. In that chapter, we discussed about equal right to vote. In previous video, we discussed about right to vote. Our country adopted universal adult franchise. Every adult ensure equal voting right. One question, equal voting rights given is enough? Will equal rights can be given in other sphere of life? What is the answer? Answer is no. Why? In sphere of life, people feel discrimination and inequality. What are the other spheres where equality is necessary and question of equality arise? People in a democratic India may have the right to vote, but whose daily living and working condition are far away from the equal rights. Like Jain Sahib is a rich man, he can afford to treat his or daughter in any private hospital. But compared to Kanta, he cannot afford to go to private hospital and he has to go to the government hospital and wait for a in a long queue. So the comparison is Jain Sahab, here is no equality. We got voting right, but inequality exists. How to overcome? How to overcome in which sphere of life? Like rich and poor, here some are rich and some are poor, and some are in upper caste and lower caste, and we find inequality on the basis of religion. After reading all this, we come to understand that in the sense of people are highly divided despite being treated under the constitution has a provision shows that equality, all should get equality under the constitution. That tells the constitution. So now let us understand the following inequalities with the two stories. Story of Om Prakash Valmiki and story of Mr. and Mrs. Ansari. So we can get the idea of caste based and religion based. And here is the story on the page number 7 of Om Prakash Valmiki. Who was Om Prakash Valmiki? He was a famous Dalit writer. He wrote in his autobiography, Jhutan. He writes, I had to sit away from others in the class and away from the others in the class, and that too on the floor. The mat ran out before reaching the spot and sat on. Sometimes I would have to sit away behind everybody, and that also near the door. Sometimes they would beat me without any reason. So why? Because that person belonged to the Dalit community. And when he was in class 4, the headmaster asked Om Prakash to sweep the school and the playground because he belongs to the Dalit community. And he in this Jhutan he writes, the playground was the way large than my small physics could handle, and in cleaning it my back began to ache and my face was covered with dust. Dust has gone inside the mouth. So the other children in my class were studying and when I was sweeping. Was the discrimination. And headmaster was sitting in his room and watching that boy Om Prakash. I was not even allowed to get drink of water. I swept the whole day from the door and of the door of the windows of the schoolrooms. The eyes of the teacher and the boys saw the spectacles, or were seeing as a spectacles, and seeing the boys what he was cleaning and he was sweeping the ground. For the next day, couple of the days, and he came to an end when his father, who happened to be passing by, saw his son was sweeping. He confronted the teacher and then walking away from the school holding Om Prakash hand, he said loudly for all of them to hear, and you are a teacher. So I am living now, but remember this much, master, that is, he will study right here in the school, and not just him, but we will know more coming after him. So this was told by the in his book Jhutan. Now you can see the second story is based on an incident that took place on India's large cities and common practice in the most part of the country. It is a story of about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari who were looking to rent an apartment in the city. They had the money, so paying the rent for so no problem for that. They went to a property dealer who was dealing with the house, who was want to deal with regarding with the house, and the dealer informed them that he know about quite a few apartments that were available for the rent. Dealer told he know the apartment which is available for the rent. They visited and decided to take it, but Ansaris liked it very much and decided to take it. However, when the landlady, how she could not rent the house to someone who had ate meat, they told the people, this Mr. and Mrs. Ansari ate meat, and this lady don't want to give this Mr. and Mr. and Mrs. Ansari this apartment. So because they surprised her because they smell fish being cooked in the neighbor's house. The same excuse was repeated in the second and the same in the third apartment. Finally, the property dealer told them they might want to change their names and call them as a Mr. and Mrs. Kumar. Why they will change the name? For the purpose of taking the apartment, they have to change the name or they have to change the religion? No, that was no. So the Ansari was reluctant to do this and decided to took some more. In the end, it took a whole month looking the apartments and searching the apartment, and before they found a landlady who was willing to give them as a place on rent. So here is recognition of dignity. So here children, when person are treated unequally, their dignity is being violated. So here there was a two stories which said the dignity of both Om Prakash Valmiki and the Ansaris was violated. Why it was violated? Because of the way in which they were being treated. First, by picking on him and making him sweep the school, Om Prakash, because of due to his caste. And Om Prakash, Valmiki's schoolmate and teacher heard his dignity badly and made him feel as he was a less than equal to other students. Understood? And Om Prakash Valmiki could do very little about the situation that he was in, and that he was faking, that he was fake, he was his situation he was being taken. It was his father who, on seeing his son sweep, obviously he felt angry by his unequal treatment done by the principal and as well as by the teachers. Then the second is the Ansari's dignity was also hurt when person refused to lease their apartment to them. However, when the property dealer suggested that they change their name, it was dignity of self-respect that made them refuse the suggestion. So Om Prakash and Ansari do not deserve to be treated like this, but they have been treated like this because due to the caste and by the religion. So they deserve the same respect and dignity as one else. Has a constitution doesn't mean to be done this, and the constitution given equal right in all aspect of sphere of life, not only right to vote but in other sphere of life. Here, the recognition of the equality includes some of the following provision which has given in the constitution. First, that every person is equal before law, whether he is a president or the prime minister or any other allied person or anyone. All are being treated equal before law. What does this mean? Is that every person from the president of the country to the Kanta, a domestic worker, has to be obeyed the same laws and they have to follow the same laws. Second, no person can be discriminated against on the basis of the religion, either race, caste, place, or birth, or whether they are female or male, any belong to any gender. Third one, every person has access to all public places. What are the public places here? Including playground, hotels, shops, and markets. All person can use publicly available wells, roads, and bathing ghats. Fourthly, untouchable has been abolished. You know the Gandhiji told what untouchability? Untouchability is a crime. Untouchability is a sin. The two ways in which the government has tried to implement the equality that is guaranteed in the constitution is first through laws and second through the government programs or scheme to help disadvantaged community who are being discriminated and who are being at the weakest section of the society or on the base of religion. There are several laws in India that protect every person right to be treated equally. So here children, one of the step taken by the government to who are been discriminated, who are to been come up for the development, and they have many scheme programs included by the government. The first was midday meal scheme. This why this scheme is introduced. This refers to the program introduced in all the government elementary school to provide children with cooked lunch. Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu is the first state in India to introduce this scheme in the year 2001. And the Supreme Court asked all the state government to begin this program in the school within the 6 months. So this program has been have a positive effect on the children. The parents enroll the children in the schools so that they can get education as well as they get their meal. So this program have been many positive effect. What are the positive effect? This includes the fact that more poor children have been enrolling and regularly attending the school, and the teachers reported that earlier children would often go home for lunch and they have not returned back and come back to the school. In this way, their attendance percentage was very less, and this midday meal being provided in school, their attendance has improved. Their mothers who early had to interrupt their work to feed the children during the lunch time at home now no longer need to do so. This program has also helped reduce caste prejudice because both lower and upper caste children in the school ate same meal together. There were no any discrimination in the distribution of meals. And in quite few places, Dalit women have been employed and they got the opportunity of the jobs and they used to cook the meal. So the midday meal program also helped reduce the hunger of the poor student who often come to school and cannot concentrate because their stomachs are empty. Without empty stomach, without they can't concentrate on the study. So while government programs play an important role in increasing equality of opportunity, equality of education to all, and equality in the giving the food to all, so there is a much that still needs to be done. While the midday meal program has helped increase the enrollment, the parents started enrolling the child in the school so that they get the education as well as the midday meal. So enrollment and attendance of poor children in school there was become less, so there continue to be big difference in our country between schools that rich attend, those that poor attend. So even today there are several schools in the country in which Dalit children like Om Prakash Valmiki are discriminated against and treated unequally. So these children are forced into unequal situations in which their dignity is not respected. So one of the main reason for this that attitudes change very slowly. Even though person are aware that discrimination is against the law, they can continue to treat the people unequal on the basis of the caste, religion, disability, economic status, and because they are women. And when people begin to believe that no one is inferior or no one superior and that every person deserves to be treated equally, that present attitude can be changed. So establishing equality in a democratic society is continuous struggle from the beginning, and one in which individual as well as various communities has been adopted in India to contribute and to we'll read more about in this book. Here, issues of equality in other democracies. India, India is a democratic country. In a democratic country like India, in which there is an inequality and where the struggle of inequality continues to exist. What is the truth? In many democratic countries around the world, the countries which are under the democratic rule or democratic governments, understood, they have the issues of equality continues to be the key issues around which community struggles due to the inequality. Here we can have, here is an example of the USA, that is United States of America. The African Americans whose ancestors were slaves who were brought from where? From Africa. To continue to describe the lives today has a larger unequal. They have been treated unequal. Why? Despite the fact they were a movement in the late 1950s to push for equal rights for the African Americans. And Prior to this, African Americans were treated extremely unequal in the United States and denied equal rights, and they have not given equal rights, and they have been discriminated, and they have not followed the equality through the law. For example, when traveling by bus, they either had to sit at the back of the bus or get up from the seat whenever a white person arrived in the bus, and they have to give a place to the white person and they have to stand. So here is Rosa Parks, was an African American woman. Here you can see in the next page of page number 13. Tired from a long day work, she refused to give up the place where she was sat in the bus seat in the bus to white man on when? On 1st December 1955. Her refusal that day started a huge agitation that became a huge agitation on that day. So that unequal ways in which African Americans were treated and which came to be known as the civil rights movement. So what is Civil Right Act? The Civil Right Act of 1964 prohibited. This act made prohibition on discrimination on the basis of race or religion or the national origin. And this also stated that African American children and they would no longer have to attend separate schools, especially earlier what they used to have set up for them. However, despite this, majority African American continues to be among the poorest in the country of South America. So most African American children can only afford to attend government schools that have fewer facilities, not provided more facilities what this white men have. And poorly qualified teachers are compared to the white students, so who either go to private school or live in area where the government schools are highly rated as a private school. So here is a challenge for the democracy. Children, no country can be described as being completely democratic unless they have not given the equal right to all, either on the base of the religion or the language or the caste or the creed or the race, whatever it may be. There should be equal right to all. This Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. What is so? It is disgraceful to live at the cost of one's self-respect. Self-respect is the most vital factors in our life. Each and every people have his own dignity to live on his life. Without it, man is a cipher. To live worthily with self-respect, one has to overcome difficulties. It is out of the hard and ceaseless struggle alone that one derives strength, confidence and recognition so that he can live his peaceful life. So the man is mortal. Everyone has to die someday or the other, but one must resolve to lay down one's life in enriching the noble ideals of self-respect and in bettering one's human life. So this giving you the dignity, giving the self-respect is important for all, whether he belong to any caste or any religion or any gender. So nothing is more disgraceful for a brave man than to live life devoid of self-respect by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So what is the challenge of democracy here? No country can describe as a being completely democratic. There are always communities and individuals trying to expand the idea of democracy and push for a greater recognition of equality on existing as well as issues. So central to this is the struggle of recognition of all persons as equal and for the dignity to be maintained. So in this book, you will read about how the issues of equality affects various aspects of our daily lives in a democratic India. As you read this chapter, think about whether the equality for all persons and they being able to maintain their dignity is up. So children, hope you have understood the chapter. So inshallah, we'll meet in the next video. Thank you.